both players with a win so far, but looks like Harry's using a Jace, Desecration Demon, and Pack Rat over there on David's side. We'll see if things do get better for the blue-white player after sideboard.
We had Harry in Indianapolis with us last week, was also making a fairly deep run in the Standard Open before being felled in a memorable match by Rug Devotion.
One that we will never let him forget about.
No.
The Tension Sphere going to come in, take care of the Desecration Demon. Now he just has to contend with a Pack Rat. See if David does have cards in hand. He does. Just draws an Underworld Connection. He's got plenty of cards, actually. So we're probably in store for a pretty good game here.
And you're seeing one of the upsides right now in playing blue-white as opposed to Esper, which is Mutavault.
Yes.
Mutavault's very good. Attacking Planeswalkers and blocking and interacting with a million different things, and right now providing a valuable blocker for Harry as well.
Underworld Connections is in the house, and that's going to get countered, and that's a good one to counter. Can't let that resolve. That's how they keep up with you. Pack Rat? Oh, tough guy. Getting in for one, huh? Except for Jace says, I don't care. I went up last turn. So you're getting in for none, actually, as Corvese is going to untap. He'll take a draw step. There's a Mutavault. Jace going up. Okay. So now, with all this untapped mana, this is the situation here of does he have a Revelation or not?
And the Mutavaults are playing a critical role here as well. David can't really attack without using his Pack Rat, at which point Harry just gets to block and trade with one of his Mutavaults, and it's David's entire turn. So, and if David adds to his board instead, then Harry can just go ahead and keep taking up Jace.
See another copy of Pack Rat here. Cohen saying he's also got 4 mana. So what are we thinking here for the Mono Black Devotion player?
Probably signals a Desecration Demon. Perhaps
5 mana. How about a Grey Merchant? I wonder how much Harry cares about this. It's only going to be for 3. Not really all that impressive. Do have to cast it at some point, of course. Corvese, no end of turn effects, just going to draw a card. Jace going to go down. Top 3 coming. Detention Sphere, Quicken, and a Hollowed Fountain. Harry will take the 2-pack. Detention Sphere going to go to the bottom.
And I'm sure at this point Harry's just happy to make his land drops and get a cantrip here as he's just digging for another big rev to wrap this game up.
And of course, Quicken is a card that, David knows about it now, but it's still a card he has to be scared of.
Oh, absolutely.
Anything can happen with a Quicken. Quicken is the truth, as some have been known to say.
David going to get into, I assume, the Jace.
Yeah, it might be time to fire up some Mutavaults here, potentially. Get your blocking on. That Jace, how important is it for Harry in this particular game state? Here's a Quicken. Take a draw. Draws an island off of it. Verdict. Got to clear up the creatures. So Jace is still going to be hanging out. You see Cohen has the Temple of Silences in his deck. He also has Temple of Deceit as well. So, and with Turtenwald's deck list, his Underworld Connections is going to resolve here. You typically find 19 Swamps, 4 Mutavaults, and then 3 Blue-Black Temples. You got a little bit of each here, and a Nykthos too.
Yeah, we usually see the Blue-Black Temples because of Night Vale Spectre overlapping with blue decks. But David's definitely upped his count here.
D-Sphere going to take care of the connections, so Harry is keeping his head above water here, not letting Cohen and draw too many cards. Mutavaults are going to come into the red zone. Going to knock Cohen down to 20, and Corvese shields are basically down with only 2 mana up. Can only represent a couple of things, one of which, though, is negate.
And that turn actually has to be something of early for David in a weird way, as attacking with Mutavault means that he doesn't have a lot of Dissolves in his hand or a Sphinx's Revelation.
So there's a Temple here from Cohen.
And Harry's also got to be conscious of time, too, as this blue-white deck does not kill that fast.
He'll grind you down. Looks like a Night Vale Spectre is going to be placed under the stack here. That's good to go. Looks like Mr. Pack Rat going to join as well. So 2 creatures for Cohen. As Corvese is going to untap those lands. He'll take a draw. See if he's going to cash in Jace this turn or not. The answer is yes. So top 3 cards coming. Hit 1, 2, and 3 are unimpressive. Last Breath, Hollow Fountain, and a Plains.
And Corvese's kind of out at this point. He has lands and a negate, and the 2 Mutavaults that are in play, but he is really light on action.
He's kind of on empty. And of course, now you have to make the decision of what do I target with this last breath? Do I care about Pack Rat or do I want to take care of the Spectre? That's a real question at this point.
Yeah, those are both pretty threatening cards.
Cohen going to take a draw. Now, in his hand, he does have a Gray Merchant. He also has a copy of Erebos right now, too.
Especially since, the Night Veil Spectre is especially threatening here as he has both a white and blue source of mana in play. So there's a lot of cards that can get turned over.
Diversifying the temples. A good decision.
He can theoretically flip over a card like Detention Sphere and be able to cast it at some point. So
he's going to start his turn by attacking. Let's see what Corvese is going to do about it. Corvese is going to fire up some Mutavaults, it looks like to me.
And with as flooded out as Harry is, I'm sure he's happy to trade these Mutavaults for any card in David's hand.
Yeah, this is why Mutavault's fantastic, of course. It does it all. Now it's on blocking duty. Pack Rat going to get double blocked. Nightveil Spectre's trigger's going to resolve. Let's see what he finds. It's a Plains. Kind of dodges a bullet there. I mean, even if he found... I guess Revelation would be so good because he only has 1 blue mana, but there was a lot of things he could find, as you mentioned, that would have been problematic. So Plains going to come into play off the Spectre. 5 mana, feels like a Gray Merchant. And it is. Last Breath going to take care of the Spectre. Let's make it a Gray Merchant. It's only going to be a gain and drain of 2. They're very unimpressive for 5 mana. But again, if you're Corvese, you're thinking of 1 card right now.
Yes. Well, there's a couple, actually. I don't know if he has any. Does he have an Elspeth in his deck? As that would also be one of the haymakers from here?
There is 1 Elspeth. He can find that. I think of these cards, of course. He's looking for the old Revelation, but Elspeth would not be so bad either. It's going to be time for another Pack Rat here for Cohen as well. It is. So Cohen has 1 card left in his hand. Just a copy of Erebos, these 2 creatures on the board. Corvese draws. It's an Azorius Charm. To hold or to cycle is the question.
I would imagine that he will be cycling this, if not now, then at the end of David's turn.
Gonna cycle now. Get a little bit deeper. See what he finds. It's
a Rev, I believe.
I believe it was a Rev. It's a good card from the Azorius Guild.
It's quite potent.
Swamp the draw here for Cohen to go along with his Erebos. Now he does have the ability because he has 7 mana. He can cast Erebos and make another copy of Pack Rat.
Based on last turn's unsuccessful attack by the Pack Rat, I imagine David is just going to pump his brakes.
And he does pump the brakes completely, and as a result, Corvese is going to be able to resolve Revelation for 6. And you can certainly see right now the pace of play for Harry, it is picking up.
Oh yeah, he's well aware that he's very likely to win this game. He's in a great position, and he has to be concerned with winning this game in time to allow him to win the 3rd game in time as well. Because getting into the draw bracket with this deck is a disaster.
No, I mean that's the opposite place that you want to be.
Yeah,
is in the draw bracket. You got to get moving with this blue-white control deck. But you also know that by playing this deck, you know that's what you're signing up for. You got some long rounds ahead of you.
I believe we are going to see Codex Shredder this turn, which is basically the full lock, as funny as that sounds.
What are we going to rebuy here?
Getting back a Supreme Verdict.
Okay, clear up everything.
Now this does actually open up the window for Erebos to resolve. Codex Shredder, a limited fringe sideboard card that we've now seen in Constructed, I'm sure inspired by, in some ways, Andrew Cunito's desire to not actually have a real win condition in his deck.
He will make you submit. Looks like a Nightveil Spectre comes off of the top, and now Erebos is going to be put into play as well. So actually only 1 swap away from Devotion, or 1 black mana symbol, excuse me. And those represent 2 very unique threats, but a Python Needle off the top for Corvese, not so bad. Here's a Divination. That's where he's going to start, using the Mutavaults with that island, realizing he's not going to attack this turn. All right, 2 good draws there in Azorius Charm and Sphinx's Revelation. So now, looks like Harry's starting to turn the corner. Divination number 2. Detention Sphere and an island. And, this is when the blue-white deck gets to be very scary because it's getting deep into his deck, drawing a lot of cards, doing what blue-white means to do.
Yeah, and all he's trying to do right now is find answers to what's on the board without exposing himself to some sort of random nonsense from David.
No.
So You see him using all of his card drawing to try to see, can I spend all my mana this turn removing things and still protect myself? If not, how do I answer the most relevant things on board, still protect myself, and then sweep up what's left the following turn?
Vunwalt put into play. Spectre coming in. Azorius Charm says, get on top. A little time walk action there from Corvese as he's going to tap all of those lands. He'll take a draw. Supreme Verdict is the draw. Quickly plays a land. He knows the top card of his opponent's deck, knows he has to contend with the Mutavault, can probably deduce that there's just a land in Cohen's hand as he will draw the Nightveil Spectre, and we're going to see a mighty large revelation in just a minute here, Patrick.
This Nightveil Spectre a little too late, I imagine, in this game.
How dare you? Powerful card like that, never too late. Big Rev, going to show up to the party. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just 11.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
And at this point, Harry just looking for an Elixir or an Elspeth.
Yeah. Found the Elspeth. And Harry's going to show him that I have Elspeth and everything else and says, do you want me to finish this off? Because time is an issue? And he says, yeah, actually I do.
Yep, because time is an issue.
Yeah. So, Elspeth's going to come in. You can see Harry really trying to speed up the process here. So Elspeth's going to make 3 soldiers. We'll get 3 soldier tokens out there for you guys at home so you can take a good look exactly what Elspeth is making. Which also drew the elixir now too. So, he basically has the virtual check mark here. But hey, you still got to finish it off. Here's a Jace as well. And it looks like we've got the milieu strategy. Nice coming from all angles.
Yeah, it's got them covered, covered on all sides.
Yeah. There's Elixir as well. And of course, when blue-white gets to this situation, there really is no coming back, but it does take him a long time to actually get into this position.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all from David. He's under no obligation to concede the game.
I wouldn't concede. Kill me.
How about you put a card in your deck that can win the game?
Yeah.
Dude, how about you cut that Codex Shredder for an Aetherlink? Then we don't have to worry about this,
You got to kill me dead. Attack. With the Nightveil Spectre. Where's it going? Top card, Elspeth. Ha! I can cast that.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm not conceding. I can cast that. And that's going to get countered. So Corvese leaves up just enough mana to be able to counter that. And let's see if Cohen has anything else to do on this particular turn.
His hand is just a swamp, so...
Looks like the answer is a resounding no.
Not sure what we are.
Looks like asking a judge a question here really quickly. All right, Corvese going to untap everything. He'll take a draw. Jace zero, milieu. Elspeth tokens coming in. We'll see if it's going to be some red zone activity here or not. See if everybody organizing all the permanents. It looks like Cohen is going to concede this game, and he is. So we're moving on to a third and final one here between Mono Black Devotion and a Blue-White Control. And as we do that, since Mono Black will be on the play, what's the sideboard look like?
It looks like he's very close to Owen's list, not surprising. It looks like he's cut the 3rd copy of Erebos out of the sideboard for a Doomblade, which I presume is not in his deck right now. So he has 2 copies of Erebos and 4 copies of Duress for this matchup.
On my side of things, 2 Fiendslayer Paladin, 3 Fiendslayer Paladin, 3 Gainsay. They look like 2s. 2 Lost Breath, a Jace Memory Adept, which we saw wrap that game up, a Ratchet Bomb, a Negate, a Glare of Heresy, an additional Elspeth Sun's Champion to go along with the 1 in the main deck, a Blind Obedience, and a Pithing Needle. So we did see the Needle, we did see the 2nd Elspeth, we did see the Negate, and we also saw the Jace, so of course those are going to be in. And we did see 1 copy of Last Breath, so I'll assume that there are 2 because it does kill Spectre, it does kill Mutavault, it does kill Pack Rat. So those are probably in. And then the rest is kind of negotiable, I suppose. But it looks like that is going to be his configuration. He'll board out some conglomerate of cards here. Don't know how many counter spells he wants in because he has Dissolves, he has Syncopates, he has just the one Quicken, which you saw him leave in. He does have a main deck Ratchet Bomb, not particularly great in this matchup, but not bad because you can set it at 3 and take care of connections. So there's certainly some decisions to be made as far as sideboarding is concerned, but it looks like Corvese is happy with his configuration because he is shuffling very quickly.
I like the one Jason this matchup quite a bit.
Me too. Me too. Closes it out fast.
Pretty easy to get into play and to protect, and wins very quickly, as you said. And it's really good if the game's, if card count matters, you can just be plussing and drawing cards. And if the game stays neutral or you need to race them or something, then the 0 option is very powerful as well. So no matter which way the game is going, Jace can be productive.
Now, of course, if you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Star City Games Open Series has made its way to Orlando, Florida. We are out of the snow and into some nice warm weather this weekend. At SCG Live, hashtag SCGORL for your tweets. Some players have been wondering who we're following this weekend. Well, David McDarby is among the group of players, along with Harry Corvese, David Scharfman, Cam Atkins, who is currently 33rd on our leaderboard race. So we'll certainly have updates for you guys after this round. See how those players are starting.
David looking at his 7 here. I see some swamps and some spells.
Snap keep.
Appears not.
All right, he's going to keep it. There's a Temple of Silence. Lands and spells? You ever thrown that back before?
I don't know. If I have, it was a mistake.
Yeah, it's not for me. Corvese with an Azorius Guildgate. And, of course, Corvese is not really going to do much in the opening turns of this game. Cohen's the one that's going to be, putting the questions forward, and Corvese's the one who's going to have the answers. There's an island, kick it back. So Cohen will take a draw here. There's a Hero's Downfall. Does he have a 3rd land? He does in the form of a swamp. Okay.
He has 2 copies of Hero's Downfall in his hand, which is actually really good for Harry, as, those cards are not going to come online until Harry has already drawn a bunch of cards and has his game plan going. So
Virtual Mulligans.
Even though they can trade with cards in Harry's deck, it's not the type of card that David needs to be drawing early on. He needs card drawing spells and discard spells.
Corvese with the broken start of Last Breath Your Creature cast Divination.
Busted.
Hardly seems fair. Swamp here for Cohen.
Doesn't even have to discard.
Yeah.
So many synergies in this deck.
6/6 Flyer is shown up here for Cohen. We'll see if Corvese does have an answer for that. See, he has a Python in his hand. He's going to play a copy of Hollow Fountain and kick it back over to the Mono Black Devotion player. Draws a Mutavault. Going to play the Mutavault. Again, those 2 copies of Hero's Downfall. Also has a Gray Merchant in hand. But most importantly, does not have a card drawing engine online, as Azorius Charm is going to put that one back on the top.
And this is a really, really good start for Harry here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, David now is just, all he has is a Gray Merchant, the Mutavault in play, and a Desecration Demon on top of his deck. 2 removal spells versus Harry's. Divination in hand, more answers.
Seems a little bit reluctant to cast that Gray Merchant because it's not the most value, but got to do what you got to do. So Gray Merchant's going to come in and provide a little bit of pressure. There's a Plains for Corvese. We're going to see a Needle. We'll get confirmation of what the Needle is naming. Follow-up is a Jace. And Jace is ticking up as the Needle is naming a Mutavault. Desecration Demon, of course, off the top. Going to play a Swamp Will Cohen. Now, are we going to drop the Demon or Hero's Downfall to Jace is the question. And it looks like he's not sure which one he wants to do. It looks like he's going to go with the Downfall. And I like this because you don't want Jace to provide any advantage here.
Yeah, and furthermore, if Harry has Supreme Verdict in his hand, it's a disaster for you to play the Demon that turn.
Heck, it can even turn over a Supreme Verdict. It would be bad news as well. Here's a Divination to start the turn. Magic's premier card drawing spell.
You got to bridge the gap, and think twice isn't walking through that door. So
not yet.
You got to play what you can play.
Oh, do it again. 3?
So nice. So nice. I'll do it thrice.
Negating the mystery card drawn here for Corvese. Pass the turn back to Cohen. Cohen will take a draw. We know he's got Desecration Demon. He just adds a Swamp to the hand. Also has another copy of Hero's Downfall. Going to play that Swamp. You see a Mutavault among his lands. That can't go active because of that Needle that's in play. So Demon will join the party, and the Gray Merchant will come on in. Going to knock Corvese down to 13.
And if you're in David's spot, or rather if I was in David's spot, I would feel like there's just, this is pretty close to helpless.
I wouldn't feel great and I wouldn't feel better now that Elspeth has shown up. Now, having an answer is certainly nice with the hero's downfall. 3 soldier tokens are going to come into play, but I still wouldn't feel great. Downfall going to take care of the Elspeth. Cohen going to quickly untap here. He does have the Demon and the Grey Merchant at the ready.
Without David finding either an Erebos or an Underworld connections pronto, it's going to be hard for him to keep up just card count-wise. So.
And there's a Temple of Silence. So that can help to find one, but he won't have one right now. Looks like he's going to keep the top card. Desecration Demon Trigger going to go to the stack. Corvese says no thanks on the attacks. And it's safe for Grey Merchant to get in the red zone. So that's what it's going to do. Corvese going to go down to 11. They're actually going to block, so it's going to stay at 13.
Yeah, I think he's just happy to set up Supreme Verdict this turn. So
he does have one in his hand, just drew an Elixir. Yep, don't want to forget that point of damage.
Might matter. Knocks him down to 25.
And now Verdict. Clear up the creatures. Let's see if Corvese wants to play anything. No land to play, so just pass the turn back. Let's see what Cohen kept on top. It's a Thoughtseize. Negate says, no, I don't even think so. Immediately countered by Corvese. He'll take a draw. I think he found his first revelation of the game. Also has an Elspeth in his hand. I think now is a safe time to cast that 6-mana Planeswalker. Soldiers are coming in, and all of a sudden, now it's Harry Corvese who's turning the corner and trying to close this game out.
Yeah, I mean, David's on Hero's Downfall or Bust basically this turn, and even if he found Hero's Downfall, he would still be in a ton of trouble.
Well, 3 mana is being tapped. Let's make it 4. So here's a Desecration Demon, a card that Corvese can control. He quickly untaps, he'll take a draw, and with 10 minutes left on the clock, he's sitting just fine as he'll attack here for 3.
Both the plus and minus power quite good against Desecration Demon.
Deso Demon chooses not to block, which is probably a good idea, I think, because getting Azorius Charm there is a disaster. But similarly, getting Detention Sphere is also poor. Elspeth going to move on up. Corvese going to pass the turn back. Doesn't need to really do much else, and this is why Elspeth is such a powerful card. It just does it by itself, as here's a Thoughtseize. See if Corvese cares about this. Does have a Dissolve in his hand. And he says, I will counter this so I get a free scry.
Rev in hand also, so might as well protect that.
Quick untap, quick draw. Corvese draws a land. He's going to attack with 6 of his soldier tokens. Just trying to close this game out quickly. Going to knock Cohen down to 16. 3 more soldiers coming in. Elspeth looking to go to 7. You know what they should do on a 6-sided die? Put a 7 on it.
Be nice.
I do that every time when I have to put something up to 7. I always grab it and I'm just like, I'm stupid. It's not on there. This is a Temple of Deceit. Top card looking to scry. And I think Cohen is coming to the same conclusion that you guys are at home. Elspeth is going to take this one away, along with a little Sphinx's Revelation really quickly here from Corvese. He's going to be for 4. He's going to gain 4 life, move up to 17. And this is the second time now that we've had Mono Black on the camera and losing to Sphinx's Revelation strategies. Harry Corvese is going to defeat David Cohen 2-1 with plenty of time to spare, even though he was playing pretty quickly. Blue-white control has a notch against Mono Black as well.
Another match where we see the Mono Black Devotion deck not getting any card drawings online, and the Sphinx's Revelation deck easily able to trade 1-for-1 and eventually rev their way through the game.
It almost begs the question, are you supposed to mulligan for one of those card drawing pieces like an Erebos or a Underworld Connections?
Maybe. I think you can also keep hands that are discard oriented as well.
Okay.
Creatures plus Thoughtseize and Duress, that's fine to keep as well. You saw David really think about mulliganing that hand. He had a bunch of removal spells and 1 Night Veil Spectre. I think there's no way that gets the job done against blue-white.
I agree.
If Harry has any sort of hand. Or against Esper.